now. This is the oldest event, I would say maybe one of the premier events here at this regatta, given its prestige and history. The Grand Challenge Cup opening here today at Henley Royal Regatta, day 4. And we've got Rowing Canada going up against the Princeton and Craftsbury Green Rowing Association from the USA. So we're just going to have a moment to see when those coxes, Oscar Woistenholm in the Canada crew, Rachel Rain in the Princeton and Craftsbury crew, are ready to go in this Grand Challenge Cup.
Attention. Go!
I love this event, Grace. This is the best of around the world coming together to meet in these big boats in the 8s. Canada versus the USA. Can you get any better than this on the Friday of Henley?
No, you can't, and I would highly recommend, if you're down here at all over this weekend or today, to go down and watch the start of one of these Grand Challenge Cups. It's so loud. You go from that moment of silence to so much noise, so much power, and you can get so close here, which is so unusual. You can't really do that in any other regatta.
Well, it's a North American duel. Nearest to us, we've got the Americans. This American crew is containing the spare pair for the Olympic Games in Paris in the 6 and 7 seeds. We've got Alexander Hedge in the 6 seat, Augustine Rodriguez in the 7 seat. They'll be heading to Paris to be the alternates, to be the spares. They're heading to Italy after this to join their teammates on the training camp in preparation into Paris, but they've been joined by the other 7 athletes in this boat who are all development athletes looking to make that step onto a home games in LA in 4 years' time. And they're also facing some pretty hopeful athletes from Canada who'll be representing at a home under-23 championships this summer.
Yeah, it's very exciting for Canada to have the home under-23 championships, and I think when you're prepping for a home games or a home world champs, it's you've got a lot riding, and you want to sort of build out and have boats in each category. But it's been a pretty close start off this the first few 100 metres of this race, and these 8s aren't wanting to give much lead to each other.
Yeah, this is a very level pegging start, isn't it? Which I don't think I was expecting, Grace, because on paper, you'd say, you know, the Americans are almost there as seniors. The Canadians are under 23s in that age cap. So, yeah, this is a much closer race than we were anticipating in this Grand Challenge Cup.
Yeah, it's a good start from this.
So we've had a great race so far in this Grand Challenge Cup event between the USA on the left-hand side of your picture, Canada on the right-hand side of your picture, and it was the Americans who were just on the fringes of that Olympic squad team for Paris this summer, who we were expecting to go out in front, but the Canadians holding them to account here, the young guns, the under-23s now about half a length down. And Grace, you know, the under-23s, you've been through the under-23 system. Talk to me a little bit about how that works and how that progression works through your rowing career if you're, you know, in this Canadian crew.
Yeah, I guess the difference about the under-23 system is you're normally coming together with a new crew each year. It's not like the elite crews where you sort of build and build and build, but it's incredibly important in your development because it gives you that international experience, and it sort of gives you those 4 years racing to step up into elites. For me, I sort of went into under-23s, up to elites, back to 23s, but honestly, under-23s are some of my most fun years. I think it's just so exciting, and you can see how much they're here loving it, and yeah, it's a really cool experience.
So we talked a little bit about how they've got a home under-23 championships coming up. That will be in St Catharines this summer in August, September. I'm now trying to think. It's in between the Olympics and the Paralympics, I know that for sure. And St Catharines hosted the World Championships back in 1999, and they actually host their own form of Henley, Grace. Have you ever been to Canadian Henley? I haven't. But
no, I haven't, but I've heard of it, and maybe we'll have to go one year to see what that's like.
So yeah, they've gone from their Canadian Henley over in St Catharines. They'll be hosting the senior non-Olympic Worlds under-23s and juniors this summer. But it will be the Americans that have managed to break that clear water now. Perhaps just a little bit of that racing experience and maturity now starting to shine through in the later part of the course.
I think so, and I think when you come off the start in the 8, you know everyone's going to throw the kitchen sink at it, and it just shows, I think they were really confident in their base speed, and when you see the American crew rowing up close, there's just not a lot of extra going on. I think their bodies are very still, they're very efficient, they're not wasting a lot, and that's when, if you row like that, it really starts to pay off in this portion of the race.
Yeah, and you can see that payoff that you talk about, just that glide forward and the distance that they get per stroke. That efficiency is what we're looking for here with rowing. It's a little bit like the more that you can, sort of spin that bike wheel and get it up to speed and get it running, it will just spin for you and do the work for you if you manage to get it right.
Yeah, and it can be difficult if you don't to come onto that during the race, but I was really impressed with how the American crew pushed on to their rhythm, and they seemed to really nail that section, and it's just allowed them to kind of carry on and just edge out, edge out, edge out. They're still having to race, they're still being pushed by this young under-23 crew, but yeah, they're just looking very smooth, and it's a really good show of really good rowing here.
Kai Hoyt's there in the stroke seat, 24 years of age, an athlete at the Craftsbury Green Racing Project, and was part of the under-23 USA Men's 8 back in 2022. So he's got the job of setting that rhythm. We've talked about Augustine and Alex Hedge in the 6th seat behind. Look at that blade work, Grace, from this American crew, considering they have never rowed together, apart from this week here at Henley. And I think I was talking to the boys in the pair earlier this week. They said they've been in this boat together for about 3 weeks. That's pretty impressive.
It's very impressive, especially coming from small boats as well. Like, the styles and techniques are different from a pair to a 4 to a 8, but they seem to have really slotted in. And sometimes, honestly, in my experience, you get a little bit of a honeymoon phase in 8s, and that can be almost the nicest phase, because you don't really know what your issues are and what you do wrong. But this is, some very in-sync, uniform rowing, which is impressive.
Honeymooning at Henley, that's something I did back in 2022. Lovely, but it's that honeymoon phase has given them lots of lovely memories in that first opening heat of the Grand. Both of these crews not selected here, so the others all with a bye through to the next round, and they will face one of those selected crews next up tomorrow in the Grand Challenge Cup.